Hi, this is Ankita Agrawal from the Department of Information Technology. I'm trying to capture the video lecture on the topic of the data structure. That is a very first topic of data structure. How to define the data, its type and its object, data object. Then how the data structures are classified, the operations that could be performed on the data structures, complexity analysis, which is again classified under three categories, that is worst case, base case, and the average case. Another topic that could be time space trade off, algorithm efficiency, asymptomatic notation, that is big O, omega, and theta. Now, coming on to the very first topic, what is data and data objects? So, data is basically the individual fact, statistics, or the information that can be collected through the observation. In a more technical sense, the data are the set of values that could be the qualitative or the quantitative variables. Now coming on to the next thing, that is data object. Data object is basically the region of the storage that contains a value or the group of values under it. Then each value can be accessed by using its identifier or the more complex expression that refers to the data object. In addition, each object has a unique data type. Now, data type is basically it determines the storage location for the data object and interpretation of the values during the subsequent access. By taking the example, I will explain by taking the example like int x is equal to 10, where int is a data type, x is a data object, and this is containing the value as 10. So x is containing the value of 10, which is again of type integer. Now, it can also be used in any type checking operation. Now, both the identifier and the data type of the object are established in the object declaration. The whole thing, which is int x is equal to 10, is called as object declaration. Now, coming on to the next topic, that is what is data structure. Data structure is basically the representation of the data and the operations that are allowed to be performed on that particular data. Now, data structure mainly specifies the four things, that is the organization of the data. That means how the data is organized, accessing method, how the data how the data can be accessed, then degree of associativity and processing alternatives for the information. Now coming on to the next thing, that is types of data structures. Data structures are basically classified into two categories, that is primitive and non-primitive. Primitive data structures are like integer, character, float, and double. The non-primitive data structures again are classified under two categories, that is linear and non-linear. Linear is again classified under two categories, that is static and dynamic. Non-linear is classified under two categories, that is tree and the graph. Now, in the linear category, we have the static one, and in that static, we have the array as a data structure. In the dynamic one, we have the linked list, stack, and queues as the data structures. Now, this is basically showing how pictorially showing how the data structures are there. Like first is an array, second is a linked list. In the first, it is showing the continuous allocation of the memory under the same category of the data. It may be integer, it may be character. The second one is a linked list, that is pointing towards the next node, which is trying to say कि, you have the next associativity to this next through the pointer. Then we have the graph. It is basically the closed structure. Tree, it is having the subsequent levels in that. Queue is basically based on first in first out, and the item that is entering first will be getting deleted as a first one. Then stack, last in first out, that is the last element that is put onto the stack will be going out first. Now, the operations that could be performed on the data structures are as follows. The first is an insertion. Insertion is basically the process of inserting any of the new data element to the existing list. It may be applied on any of the data structures like array, linked list, depending upon the specification that we have done. Deletion is a operation that is basically the removal of the data from the existing data structures. Searching, it basically means to find out the data item that is required. Sorting is a process of arranging all the data item into a proper fashion. Then merging is basically the process of combining the data items into two different sorted lists into a single one. Traversal is basically visiting all the data items one by one in the systematic manner. Now coming on to the next topic, that is algorithm preliminaries. Basically, algorithm is a set of instructions, or it could be called as the finite sequence of the instructions which is required to be performed to achieve a single task. Now this algorithm has some preliminaries, like the way how the instructions are defined, what is the value that we have assigned to a variable, then how the input is being fed to the control statement, and we retrieve the output for the same. Now basically there is a structure of well-defined structure of the algorithm also. Now in that the very first step is a input step in which we give in which we assign the value which we in which we try to give the variables that could be assigned in assign the values depending upon the data type that is given. Like in the first example, it is a int a and b, means a and b are the variables of integer type. Now the second one step is an assignment step. In this assignment step, the variables that were previously there in the input step are given the values, like a is equal to 10 and b is given the b is assigned the value as 20. So it can be called in this manner that a is assigned as a value 10 and b is assigned as a value 20. Now coming on to the third step, that is a decision step. Decision step is basically if else condition, or the decision has to be made like we have to process to the next step, or we have to backtrack to the previous step. Then the repetitive step, that is the for loop statement which is used. Now in this repetitive step, it will again go to the it will follow the initialization, then the condition, and then the updation. So initialization will be done for the first time, then the updation, the condition will be matched. If it is satisfying the condition, the updation will be done on that basis. Again it will follow the same thing till the condition is being satisfied. The moment the condition is not being satisfied, it will come out of the loop. It will come out of the loop means the control will come out of the loop. Now the last step is a output step, which is a printf step, that is what we want to be printed, what we want in our program to be printed will be printed onto the screen. It will be with the help of the printf statement in the case of C, or it will be by the cout in the case of the C++. So here we have assigned the values as A is equal to 10 and B is equal to 20, and then we are trying to uh, print onto the screen as A plus B as a output.